Good evening, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this evening, man gunned down outside the Manchester Primary School was on bail for murder. Police say the 27-year-old man killed this morning in front of a primary school in Manchester was reporting on condition of bail in relation to the 2018 murder of a child. A police source identified the man as Cuthbert Lambert, otherwise called Jerome, who was gunned down shortly after 8 a.m. after dropping off his 5-year-old stepdaughter at the school. It is reported that the father, who is a taxi operator, pulled up at the school and was in the process of dropping off the children when a car drove by and the persons aboard fired multiple shots, fatally striking the man, identified as Jerome, who reportedly had his child in his arms. During the incident, a parent was shot in her arm and she was subsequently assisted to hospital for treatment. The child was not harmed. The drive-by shooting happened around 8:45 outside the Christiana Moravian Primary and Infant School. In addressing worried parents gathered outside the school, a police officer said the Ministry of Education ordered the institution to go into lockdown. None of the students will be let out now. All the students are safe, and the directive from the ministry is that the gate must be closed. We have operational persons here. We have our regular police from Christiana here, he said. This incident occurred just 2 days after another man, 29-year-old Romario White, was shot dead at a bar in Christiana Town Centre on Wednesday. 4 people have been killed in Manchester over the past 4 days. Jamaicans are charged with illegal entry to be deported from Antigua. 2 Jamaicans are set to be deported after appearing in an Antiguan court on charges of illegal entry and the development in a physical altercation with an immigration officer at the VC Bird International Airport. The women, identified as Elisa Ricketts and Renee Nelson, were denied entry upon their arrival on Sunday but allegedly became disorderly, with Nelson reportedly becoming increasingly disruptive even while in custody. The situation escalated when Ricketts allegedly assaulted an immigration officer, tearing her uniform blouse in the process. Ricketts later pleaded guilty to battery and was fined EC $400. She was also fined an additional EC $500 for resisting arrest, while Nelson, who pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct, was fined EC $250. The Immigration Department then asked Magistrate Ngayo Emmanuel at the District B Magistrates Court to approve their immediate deportation, which the court granted. The women are to be sent back to Jamaica on the next available flight. Meanwhile, authorities reported that 62-year-old Coralie Gale, who had been residing in Antigua since 2018, has already been deported after illegally entering the country. Gale is reported to have entered by boat on August 18 and disembarked without immigration authorization. He was subsequently charged with unlawful entry, using an undesignated port, failing to report to immigration, and overstaying his permit, which expired in December 2018. Gale admitted to the charges and was reprimanded and discharged, but immigration officials ordered his deportation. Minor fire in Jubilee operating theatre. A minor fire broke out in the operating theatre at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital in Kingston early Friday morning. The fire reportedly started around 3:15 a.m. but was quickly extinguished with additional cooling down activities conducted by the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Following the incident, 2 staff members were treated for smoke inhalation at the Accident and Emergency Department of the Kingston Public Hospital. No mothers, babies, or other patients were injured during the incident. In the meantime, emergency and elective surgical services have been temporarily relocated to KPH. Nurses restive over unsettled wage issues. The country's nurses are restive as they are yet to receive a settlement on outstanding issues related to their compensation review. President of the Nurses Association of Jamaica, Dawn Mary Richards, says a meeting was held with the finance minister at the end of July. But she says there was no further update on whether their outstanding claims would be addressed. She says that the nurses are upset that their issues remain unresolved, especially with the impending departure of Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark. The NAJ president says a mandate was given to her at a meeting on Wednesday to again write to the ministry with a deadline as to when the matter should be addressed.
That is being done and follow-up will take place. The mood of persons are quite concerned as to what will happen going forward. And I am really not in a position at this time to appease membership because the distrust is already there.
Postmistress shot dead in Clarendon. Less than a month after her husband was murdered, a 43-year-old postmistress was gunned down outside her place of employment in Palmer's Cross, Clarendon on Thursday. The deceased is Debbie Ann Markland Barrett of Russell Lane in Palmer's Cross. It is reported that about 11:30 a.m., Mrs. Markland Barrett was inside a bar on the same building as the post office when explosions were heard. 2 men were reported seen running from the scene with handguns. The police were called and the victim was found with multiple bullet wounds to the head. Woman admits a fatally shooting Jamaican husband over alleged infidelity. The woman charged for the fatal shooting of her Jamaican husband in Florida, United States, told detectives she killed her husband over infidelity issues. Denise Malcolm, 45, is facing a charge of first-degree murder for the death of 52-year-old Rohan Malcolm, a former employee of the Jamaica Observer. Police say one of the couple's 14-year-old twin sons witnessed his father bleeding on the floor of his bedroom after being shot multiple times. Court documents made public on Thursday revealed that Mr. Malcolm was alive at the time and clutching his shoulder, but his wife told detectives she fired one final shot, killing him as the police arrived.
This is all according to new court records. It says that this woman told detectives she found out her husband was cheating on her, so she killed him. And the report says after a heated argument, that's when those shots went off, and this woman is now in jail on no bond. 45-year-old Denise Malcolm is facing a first-degree murder charge in the death of her husband, Rowan Malcolm. A lengthy arrest affidavit lays out that Denise was, quote, at her wit's end with his lies and deceit over allegations her husband was cheating. Following a 45-minute fight, police say Malcolm shot her husband multiple times.
The officers made entry into the residence to check on the well-being of anybody who may be inside. They did come across and encounter one male individual who had suffered multiple gunshot wounds.
Malcolm appeared in court.
Ms. Malcolm, you are here on one count of premeditated murder.
The report goes on to say that Malcolm had contemplated suicide, but as her husband was bleeding on the ground, he said something that changed her mind, and she shot him one more time.
Renewed appeal to locate missing 47-year-old St. Andrew woman. The Constant Spring police are renewing their appeal for information on the whereabouts of 47-year-old Sharon Bailey of Riverside Drive, St. Andrew, who has been missing since Wednesday, July 17. She is of dark complexion, slim build, and about 170 centimeters or 5 feet 6 inches tall. Reports from the police are that about 2:15 p.m., Bailey was last seen at home wearing a multicolored blouse and jeans shorts. All efforts to locate her since then have been unsuccessful. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Sharon Bailey is being asked to contact the Constant Spring Police at 876-924-1421, the 119 police emergency number, or the nearest police station. Taxi operator charged with teacher Daniel Anglin's murder remanded. Lascelles Morgan, the taxi operator charged with the murder of educator Daniel Anglin, has been further remanded until October 3. When the matter was called up in the Clarendon Parish Court on Thursday, his attorney Donahue Martin requested additional disclosure. An antecedent report, which was requested during his first appearance in July, was not available. On July 10, the 45-year-old convicted sex offender was charged with murder and kidnapping with respect to Miss Anglin, who was a teacher at the St. Peter Claver Primary and Infant School in St. Andrew. Forensic tests confirmed that the skeletal remains Found on June 3 in Salty River, Clarendon, were those of the educator who disappeared after leaving her Helsher Park home in St. Catherine on May 13. The police say Morgan had been arrested and charged in 2015 by the police for sexual offenses and was also convicted in Antigua for sexual offenses and deported to Jamaica. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.